from Department of Social Development. I can see the HOD is here. I'm not sure if the MEC is in, but certainly the HOD is here, and I'm sure with members of her team. I'd like to welcome also officials from the Legislature and others who are attending this meeting. So you are all welcome. Let's just observe a moment's silence for those who have passed on, please. Thank you. Item 2 on the agenda, which is in front of us, is attendance and apologies. I do know that we have a standing apology from Honorable Rogers, but he has arranged for replacements. I think his replacement is not here today, but he has informed us of who would be replacing him in the various hearings. Are there any other apologies, Kavo? Kavo?
Yes, ma'am. We have an apology from Honorable MEC for DSD. She's having where she is. She said no, she'll try to log in, but however, if she fails, because where she is, there is trouble with the network. But she's busy with the official work there. Thank you.
Okay, that's fine. We do have the HOD, and it's the HOD we would engage with and the team. All right. In terms of constitution of the meeting, Cabo, can you just formally tell us how we are constituted in terms of attendance of members?
In terms of attendance, ma'am, we are constituted. But however, there is a hand here from Honorable Kulu.
Okay, Honorable Kulu.
Thank you, Chairperson. Greetings, honorable members and our officials. Honorable Chair, I would love to leave around about 1:30. I've got NCOP also around 2 o'clock today. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kulu. Certainly that will be fine. It's possible that we will be done by then. Okay, so the meeting is duly constituted. Can I have a mover and seconder for adoption of the agenda, please?
Honorable Kulu, I move for adoption with the apologies. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kulu. And the seconder, please?
I second, Honorable Zulu.
Thank you, Honorable Zulu. And thank you for attending. We understand it is a difficult time for you. Then let's hand over to the Department of Social Development without further ado. I can see that the HOD is here. HOD, what we will require from you is to briefly show your face while you take the oath of affirmation to speak the truth, as well as hand over to any other members of your team who will be speaking to take the oath of affirmation, and in each case, they must briefly show their faces. So let's start with you, HOD, to do the oath of affirmation to speak the truth.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. I'm not sure whether you can see me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, all right. May I then swear that what I'm going to share with the committee will be the truth and nothing else but the truth, so help me Lord. I am with the Chief Financial Officer of the department, Mr. Senzo Zungu. He is going to also do the same. And then present chairperson in the meeting, there's DD Jim Thongo, who will then come in after the Chief Financial Officer. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, HOD. Let's hand over to the next member of the team.
Good morning, Chair. My name is Senzo Zungu. I'm the Chief Financial Officer in the department. I hereby affirm and swear that I will speak the truth, nothing else but the truth, so help me God. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Who is next?
As DD Jim Thongo.
Good morning to the chair and the committee and all the colleagues in the meeting. My name is Mapili Mhlongo. I'm the DDG in the Department of Social Development. I affirm and swear that all that I'm going to talk here is the truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Thank you. HOD, have we covered your team?
Yes, Chairperson, we have covered.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, that is fine. Then let's go into the presentation by your department on the resolutions that were adopted by the legislature in relation to the audit outcomes. And HOD, if you can flight the presentation, which we have received, by the way, and it has been emailed to members, but if you could flight that, it would be appreciated. Okay, so the presentation is visible.
Thank you very much, honorable members of SCOPA. We are presenting our response. The Secretariat did tender the apology for the Honorable MEC. She wanted to be with us, but she couldn't, as indicated that there's a network problem. So we will then respond as the department. With regard to the first resolution, the department, I'm not sure, Chairperson, in the interest of time, whether we need to, I think, zoom into our response so that we don't go through your resolution.
Correct.
I think,
yes, HOD. Members already have the resolutions. Just zoom into your response briefly, just with a one-liner. Say you're responding to this resolution about, for example, irregular expenditure, and proceed.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. The first resolution that we are responding to is a resolution with regard to the irregular expenditure. So we will then be responding that way in all our responses based on what as you have guided, Chairperson. The CFO will take us through half of the responses. Then I will also come in. We'll be sharing our presentation. The CFO will then take us through. Thanks, Chairperson.
Thanks, HOD. CFO?
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I'm not sure if I'm audible.
You're quite audible. Thanks.
All right. Good afternoon to yourself, Chair, and members of the committee, as well as the colleagues from the department, HOD and DDG. I will start taking the committee through the progress. This is mainly on the resolutions taken by
CFO, you're breaking up a bit.
Question for the then the response.
CFO? You are breaking
yes, Honorable
up.
Chair.
Okay, now we can hear you.
All right. All right. No, thanks, Honorable Chair. The first one is in respect of the irregular expenditure for 22-23 financial year, which we said. We are saying the department has previously led the monitoring of short and long-term contracts whereby management and controls were vested at head office. This practice has negative impact in the management of contracts in district. Then we're saying the department has implemented decentralization procurement approach for contracts related to project to districts in respect of short and long-term contract, no saving 1 million to effectively manage and prevent irregular expenditure. With regard to coordination, the department has not yet started the coordination process in respect of this year because it took a decision to stop outsourcing the services. It will be done internal. As a result,
Sorry, CFO. Can I ask whoever has their mic on, please switch it off apart from the CFO? Okay, it's Mapili. I think it's, let's see, who is it? Yeah, it's Mapili. I think Mshlongo, please switch your mic off. Carry on, CFO.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. As that department has to review the policy of unauthorized, irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure to align with the National Treasury Framework and to clearly indicate the roles and responsibility of in the sections individual. The policy has been approved. As such, the department has appointed the committee that will deal with consequence management and determination test and consequence management to be finalized by the 21st of March 2024. The second resolution is Resolution 169 of 169 of 2023, where there was a cumulative balance of irregular expenditure not yet condoned up to 1 billion. Our progress is saying the department does not agree with the resolution as it referred to the old submission. So the information that was the committee responded to is in respect of the old submission. Department has since submitted the information to Provincial Treasury in May, requesting the withdrawal of all submission, and further to that, the matter was discussed with the Provincial Treasury to ignore the old submission and consider the latest submission of 399.4 million, which comply with legislation and contained the transactions that were in the audited financial statement. The matter was also discussed with Provincial Treasury, another official from Treasury that reported that their register only have set out of old submission. The new submission could not be traced, so we had to resubmit. To our knowledge, department has since submitted 4 submissions to Treasury to the value of 646 million, not 1 million, and that submission is under consideration by Provincial Treasury. Still waiting for the response if they are able to condone that amount that we have submitted that is complying with legislation. Resolution 170, where it's talking about fruitless and wasteful expenditure of 261,000. The response is that the policy on unauthorized, wasteful, fruitless has been reviewed to address compliance requirements to the determination test in line with the reporting framework issued under Instruction Note 4 of 22-23 financial year. The investigation for the financial year 21-22, 22-23 is in progress to be finalized by 31st of March 2024. The next one is Resolution 171 of 2023 regarding fruitless and wasteful expenditure in prior years or in financial year prior to 22-23 not recovered or written off of 3.6 million. Our response is the same as that one where we are saying the policy has been approved and the department has completed the backlog of investigation of wasteful expenditure incurred in 2016 until 21-22, totaling to 1.4 million as a result of after our bookings, interest on overdue accounts, and no-show. The implementation of the recommendation from the outcome investigation is in progress. The investigation for fruitless and wasteful expenditure in respect of 21-22 of 142,000 is in progress to be finalized by 31 March 2024. Resolution 172, supply department failure to pay suppliers within 30 days. We are saying the department has implemented standard invoice tracking monitoring tool and continue to monitor budget spending, including payments of invoices within 30 days. Department has improved on late processing of payments beyond 30 days. However, due to cash flow challenges resulting from budget cuts and prior accruals, the delay in payments of invoices within a stipulated time frame remains a challenge. And we are saying department will institute disciplinary measures in instance where the official has been identified as negligent as a result of delay in processing of payments. However, Chair, the main challenge on this one is the budget cuts that actually hinders the department to pay within 30 days. The next resolution is 173, procurement and contract management. So the progress is saying department has since revised the standardized SCM checklist for quotation to include verification of COIDA. Where applicable, the implementation of this monitoring tool is aimed at improving the document management system within SCM environment, as well as ensure authenticity of compliance documents to curb recurrence of deficiencies identified. The SCM has made several attempts to communicate with developed labor. However, they have not been a positive response, and the accounting officer has referred to the matter with regard to that supplier for formal investigation. However, to ensure that this audit finding does not occur, we have implemented that SCM checklist where all the awards before they are being finalized, they are subjected to the checklist if the recommended suppliers meet all the requirements to avoid the repeat finding. Resolution 175, can I jump this one? HOD will come on and present this one on forensic investigation. Let me take the other ones, and then I will hand over to the HOD with your permission, Chair.
That's fine.
And, thanks, Chair. And then the next one is in respect of 176, Key Infrastructure Project also in Handicraft Center. We are saying the consultations was held with the contractor to address the delays. The contractor initially displayed slow progress due to cash flow. However, the situation has since improved, and the progress is estimated at 83% towards completion. Other challenge has been due to late delivery of material. There are standing contractual site meetings held on monthly basis with the department. The department has also appointed operational task team to close the monitor progress for this project. The progress report are presented to management on an ongoing basis. The project is estimated to be completed by end of February. The assessment and investigation to determine the fraudulent and unlawful expenditure to the value of 10.5 million is still in progress in consultation with the Department of Public Works. The outcome of investigation will inform the consequence management that needs to be followed. Then I think this is the last one before the one for investigation. Resolution 177, transfer payments to NPOs. Then we're saying the progress department continues to conduct monitoring and evaluation assessments to fund at NPO to ensure that transfers funds utilized for intended purpose and services are in compliance to mandates and norms and standards. Maintenance of infrastructure is included in Transformation Plan, Section 5, and the costing of expenditure, Section 6 of the business plan. However, department acknowledged the need for the completion of maintenance plan with specific targets in business plan. In addition, deficiencies identified in respect of maintenance of building in the 3 audited organizations, the following is progress made as at December 2023. APH repairs of pipe have been completed, while ceiling portion is still in progress of being repaired. Mutande Society for the Aged, the government has not been successful in sourcing additional funding from donor to address infrastructure-related defects. Department is working together with the civil municipality. Working together, has identified an alternative venue within the local proximity of the home. The Egutuleni place of peace has been found suitable to accommodate the elderly. The authentication of the alternative home by the environmental officer is underway. The last one, which is in the flagship, skills training and development has been conducted in field of financial management, record management, environmental affairs, and NPO compliance. Repairs and cleaning of pollution has been undertaken. Width around the damaged building has since been removed, and such a project produce has been successfully implemented in the premises. Thank you, Honorable Chair. I will hand over, with your permission, to the HOD to take us through Resolution 177 on the issues of forensic investigation. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, CFO. HOD. I think there are 15 investigations, so if you can go through them.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Thank you, CFO. We just quickly going back to the one that I need to report to in terms of the investigations.
Okay, we can see it on the screen.
Thank you very much. I think we are on that one. That is with regard to this investigation. The department's response on this one is that we have completed the investigations and the nature of the allegations and the amount involved. The progress has been made in the disciplinary matters and criminal cases, and the steps taken to recover any losses and other remedial action to prevent recurrence. And then with regard to FR 36 of 2009, there are findings with regard to this one. It's quite a very old investigation, forensic investigation. What was recommended is that the department institute disciplinary action against the 5 officials. So when you go down, it does indicate that the department, just go down, sir, is that there were 3 officials that were implicated. That is linked to the irregularities in terms of the supply chain management. And then in terms of those 3 officials that were implicated, one is deceased now, and then 2 were transferred to other departments, the Department of Agriculture, as well as to the Department of Agriculture. What we did, we also wrote to the new department where these officials are requesting that they carry on with the matter. So I think that's where it is right now. In terms of the criminal proceedings, the matter is still in court. There was going to be a matter sitting down on the 6th of March. I did not check, Chairperson, the latest how it went in court on the 6th of March. But in terms of the civil recovery, accused number 1 failed to make payment of the confiscation amount in terms of the plea and sentencing agreement, and the curator was authorized to facilitate sale of the accused number 1's immovable property, of which no money was made from the sale due to the high amount owing on the bond. That was FR which is of 2009. FR 6 of 2013, there were recommendations that were made. The progress thus far is that in terms of what was there was that there was irregularities in terms of the appointment of officials. And there were 2 disciplinary proceedings that happened in terms of 2 officials that were subjected to disciplinary hearing. Disciplinary processes in respect of 1 matter was finalized. The second officials was the matter. The chairperson considered arguments in limine, and that her ruling was in favor of the employee, and the matter was dismissed. In terms of the criminal case, the Office of the State Attorney was advised that the docket for this matter has since been closed, given the amount of time that has lapsed and has rendered critical documents such as affidavits were stale. That is this one of 2013. Then FR 35 of 2014, there were allegations of fraud and corruption relating to foster care grant. There were disciplinary processes that were followed, and the sanction of dismissal was done. And then the criminal cases that were opened, the docket was referred to the public prosecutor in Bangeni. We can also indicate that the investigating officer is still attending to the queries that were raised by the state public prosecutor. Civil recovery, the department did not suffer direct financial loss. The department, through Legal Services Directorate, intervened on this matter, and such intervention resulted in the affected beneficiaries being reimbursed by the post office. With regard to the next matter, which is FR 36 of 2014, there was if you could go down, there was a fraud and allegation of fraud and corruption relating to foster care grant at a show office. The amount was not determined, but as in 31 January 2024, a criminal case on this matter was opened at Eshowe with this reference number, and that criminal case is under investigation by Eshowe subs. And then the civil case, the department did not suffer any direct loss because the matter is being managed by SASSA to do debt recovery. And when you look into this matter, is the foster parents that signed and the acknowledgement of debt. So which then that's where the matter is, SASSA is managing it. With regard to FR 12 of 2015, on this matter, there was an allegation of fraud and corruption relating to foster care grant relating to Mbumbulo office, Mbumbulo area, and 131,000 was involved. The progress to date is that the criminal case in respect of this matter was reported, and Mbumbulo subs is actually investigating the matter with this reference number. That a public prosecutor declined to prosecute on this matter, citing that there were no reasonable prospects to successful prosecution. And then with regard to the next matter, 36 of 2015, the progress to date, the allegation here was fraud and corruption in Vuma Youth Development Center. The report did not indicate the amount involved, but what we can indicate is that there was no disciplinary action taken by the NPO as the employer of those people who were implicated in terms of this matter. There was in terms of the criminal case, the board was advised to open a criminal case, which was not done. The criminal case was then opened by the department at Eshowe, with this case number, and the criminal case in respect of this number with this matter is underway, being investigated by Showe SAPS. Civil recovery, there were no recommendations for a civil recovery. With regard to FR1 of 2016, in terms of this matter, the allegations were that there is fraud in foster care management, Mahlabathini office, which involved 51,000. The progress to date is that the disciplinary proceedings case was finalized. 3 officials that were implicated. They are no longer there, these 3 officials, because 2 of those officials that were implicated died and 1 resigned. Then in terms of the criminal case, in respect of this matter, it's in Mahlabathini with this case number, and that the matter was still under investigation. In terms of the civil case, the department did not suffer direct financial loss. The matter was forwarded to SASSA for implementation of debt recovery. With regard to the next matter, in terms of the Sinawe home-based care services, there were allegations of irregularities on the management of 233 home-based care services in the province. The amount involved is 1.1 million. The progress thus far is that the 3 officials that were implicated were disciplined, and they were all given written warning. The criminal case, the matter was reported at KZN SAPS. The case is under investigation. The docket was referred to the Commercial Crime Unit upon completion of the investigation for their further intervention. The investigating officer is attending to queries raised by the senior public prosecutor from the Commercial Crime Unit. The civil case, the department will use Section 300 of the Criminal Procedure Act upon successful conviction to recover the defrauded funds. With regard to the next one, which is the way there is an allegation of irregularities on the procurement of blankets and PPEs for COVID-19. The amount involved were 22 million for blankets and 7 million for PPEs. The progress thus far on the matter is that there is disciplinary hearing that is underway. The hearing for now, I think the one that was scheduled for March, on the 26th of March, which is today, is the last day for the hearing that has been taking place in the past 3 weeks. And that is the same matter even with the PPEs. In terms of the criminal case, one criminal case, criminal cases were opened at Pietermaritzburg SAPS with regard to both, and the cases were investigated by the Special Investigation Unit Directorate. On the 21st of December 2021, SAPS reported that the National Prosecution Authority has declined to prosecute on both cases. Nole prosecuted, both dockets were closed. In terms of civil recovery raised, the report did not recommend civil recovery against any official, but we can report that the 2 companies agreed to pay back some money, and the amount of 718,550 and 864,000 were paid by both companies. And then the report, you can just go down. Okay. Yes, the report in respect of the PPs is also in the following paragraphs. The SIU has since received payment, but the latest is that they have transferred the recoveries to the province. The department is implementing the following measures and remedial actions taken to prevent recurrence of these shortcomings. We must indicate that ethics, fraud, and corruption awareness workshops were conducted in the department to ensure that this matter is not experienced again by the department, and that ongoing risk assessment exercises were conducted to come up with mitigating strategies. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, HOD. Colleagues, I will now open or hand over to you for you to raise any matters. Let me just say that whilst you are doing that, and if you would please shout out, HOD, in terms of the Resolution 22 of 23 involving an amount of 71.4 million dealing with irregular and expired contracts. Colleagues, you'll recall that we have had issues with the department around the security and catering contracts that used to be expired. However, and I think it was in the reign of the previous HOD, the issues around those contracts were sorted out. But it would now appear that there are other contracts. And we'd like to hear what is the nature of these contracts, because we don't want to have that situation in the department. Then also, there's an allegation that, or there's a report that the department doesn't agree with the resolution of SCOPA because of the amounts, etc. And they were saying that they had submitted another document to Treasury. We'd like some indication of where those discussions are at the moment. Then, okay, for now, I'll just stop there. I think colleagues will pick up on some of the other matters, and I can come back later. Let me hand over to you, colleagues. I see the hand of Honorable Cele. Are there any other hands? Okay, not at this point, Honorable Cele. Let me hand over to you.
Thanks, Chair. Greetings to yourself and honorable members and the HOD and colleagues from the legislature and also from the department. We'd like to welcome the report given by the department chair. But when the HOD speaks on some of these disciplinary matters, Chair, there are some matters that makes you not sure how do we sometimes take decisions, especially when it comes to the NPA and some of these cases, Chair. The first one is when the HOD, I think it was FR 06 of 2009, where she says there were people that were transferred to other departments, especially Department of Agriculture, They were found to be guilty, and then they were transferred. I'm not sure if I heard properly. And then she says, we will then follow up on the prosecution. I think for me, I have a problem with that. It's what I've been saying with all other departments, Chair, to say that I know that there is a bill that is being passed where we are saying that when someone is found guilty, but I know that it's mainly for municipalities. I'm not sure when it comes to departments if it also affects them. But I have a problem with that, Chair, that someone will be found guilty in another department and we allow them to go to another. And the issue of 131,000 of Mbumbulu, also there where the NPA says we won't be able to recuperate that money. I have a problem with that. I know that perhaps it's an issue which is beyond the department, but I think that as SCOPA we must then write to community safety and liaison, or actually the portfolio committee on police, and caution them on those, because you can't tell me that when someone defrauds the state, there's no way. We are saying that money is not recoupable. If the money is not recoupable, they must go to jail, because the fact of the matter, you stole, and they are stealing from the poorest of the poor, Chair. That's my problem with this kind of theft of social development. You take money from the people that have nothing anyway, that the state is saying, let us intervene, and when you find a way to take that money that is really, really, really needed by the poorest, and particular children. Where they say the public prosecution refused to prosecute, for me, I have a problem with that. NPO Vuma Academy, I have a problem as well, Chair, where we find that there's been a fraud that has been spoken of, RF 36 of 2015. Yes, the department is doing what they need to do, but that NPO, if they are refusing to prosecute, or they are not able to even fire that person from their employment, is the state going to still do business with that MPO? Because if an MPO is funded by government, it must then follow through the prescript of the law. If someone is found guilty, they must do the follow-up, and people must be charged accordingly. I really, I know that it's beyond the department. We can't really say we hold them responsible for it, but something must be, a strongly worded letter must go towards that NPO, and they must be bad to be given a funding, maybe for the next financial year or whatsoever. Mahlabathini offices, 3 officials that were found to be guilty, and all right, where they defrauded about 233 home community-based centers. It's a very sad thing, Chair. It's absolutely sad. I know that the department has tried its level best to deal with this matter, but I have a problem when there's no prosecution, criminal prosecution, because when you defraud a home-based center, what type of a person are you? And I have a problem with the fact that the department says we gave them a written warning. They defrauded 1.1 million, and we give them a written warning. That person doesn't deserve to be working for the state. That person must be fired from being part of the state, because they are working for a department that deals with the most vulnerable. So if a thief, you leave a thief within that type of a department, what are you expecting the thief to do going forward? I'm just worried, Honourable Chair, but some of the things that they've said, they are acceptable, but some of them really they leave a very bitter taste on my mouth, Chair. Thank you.
Thanks, Honorable Kwele. I think you've raised some really, really important issues. Colleagues, when we talk about consequence management as SCOPA, we don't say it because we want people to be punished for the sake of being punished. It's exactly the model. And if I have a public service, that's the idea behind it. It must serve the public, not serve themselves. So yes, the consequence management is important, as is the cost recovery. And unfortunately, there doesn't appear to be enough of that. Colleagues, let me see if there are any other hands, please, or any other comments. I'm not seeing any hands as yet. If I'm missing you, please shout. But while this is happening, let me just raise a few other matters, which I think would probably fit in with what Honorable Kwele is saying. On the issue of the investigations, there were 15 that the department we had from the department on record. 9 were completed, 6 still in progress. And of these 15, you've got just 8 criminal cases that have emerged. I think it's positive that there are cases that have emerged, but you'll also see that apart from these 8, there were 2 that were dropped, others that were not followed up and declared unfit for prosecution. And this is something that's not a good state of affairs, because we want to send a clear signal to those who are doing the wrong things. You will not get away with it. But when matters are dropped and prosecution is not followed, then it means that almost like you've been given carte blanche. Then, what I also want to say is that agree with Honorable Kwele, these 2 officials, department, who were transferred to the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, we'd like a report on what is happening with their disciplinary matters, because the onus now is on the Department of Social Development to ensure that all records are handed over to the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, and that the disciplinary issues continue. So we'd like a report from you. The fact that they're transferred from your department doesn't mean that the responsibility is entirely from you as well. You're responsible now to ensure that these matters are followed up and you see their cause. Then on the PPEs, right? Here, large amounts, right? 22.4 million, 7.3 million, that what you got paid back was around 800,000 and 700,000, 1.5. So it's not a lot. My question here is that there was no prosecution of the companies or the officials who awarded this, that the amount recouped. I'd like to know what happened to those blankets that were provided, but importantly, there is provision for suppliers who behave, who do not follow the prescripts of the law, for them to be blacklisted. And is there any move towards getting these suppliers blacklisted? Because that is what should happen as well. And I'm not hearing that. I'd like to. Then I also hear about the payment within 30 days. You are saying that you pay, but because of budget cuts, you may not always be able to do so. But the fact of the matter is that you're aware of your budget. You know what your budget cuts are. So when you incur this expenditure, you are knowingly incurring this expenditure because you don't have the funds to pay. You know that. And therefore, what happens is this expenditure becomes what is called an accrual, which is then drawn against your next financial year's budget. Now, you may be able to find those funds in the next financial year, but it might well be that there are no more suppliers left, because these people are generally small suppliers, and if they aren't paid by government, they go out of business. So people must be held accountable for this. You can't hide behind saying budget cuts, right? Because people know what the budget cuts are like right now. You know what your budget is for the 24-25 year. And you can't then say we can't pay suppliers because there are budget cuts. Right, you've got to cut your clock to, accordingly. And I think that's important. And then my last point is that in terms of amounts owing, right, the SIU, you had a bill of 4.498 4.378 million for that you owed the SIU for investigations and work done by them on behalf of your department, including the blankets and the PPE saga. You paid them about 2-point-something million, and you actually owe them 2.394.120 million. What is the plan to pay them? Because here is another supplier that is you are in arrears to. So let me stop for now at that point, colleagues, and hand over to the department.
Thank you very much, honorable members, for the questions that have and comments that has been posed to the department. May I start with the question or comments that were posed by Honorable Cele with regard to the officials that were transferred to the Department of Agriculture. I think the reports I have is that whilst the matter was still on, these officials were transferred to the Department of Agriculture before the matter was finalized. Apparently, they were working in the office of the then executive authority that moved to the Department of Agriculture. Then they moved. But I must indicate and confirm, honorable members, that in 2021, the HOD reporting now wrote to the HOD of the Department of Agriculture indicating that these two officials were transferred to your department, and there is this matter that that you need to ensure that you proceed with the disciplinary processes, which then says that it is that department that must give progress in terms of how far they went with the matter, because we let them to be aware about this misconduct case as the Department of Social Development, because they are no longer our employees. Apparently, the process says that as long as they are still in the public service, wherever they are, you must advise the new employer or the new supervisor that these are issues against these officials, so that they take over. We forwarded a Department of Agriculture and Rural Development with all the information for them to proceed with the matter. Maybe we can follow up with them in terms of the progress, Honorable Chair. I'm not sure whether it should be us as the department or maybe the SCOPA, but whichever way we can do that, so that maybe in the next meeting we can then give progress, but they are accountable to that other department. Yes, as far as that one is concerned. I must indicate that Honorable Chairperson, with regard to the current matter that you were referring to on the issue of the PPEs and the blankets, we have received the communication. In fact, SIU is still following up with other service providers that were part of the procurement on this matter. So they haven't finalized that. But whilst they were still pursuing the service providers, they confirmed that there are those two that confirmed to pay back the money. And I think they've done that after we have forwarded the report, because the 718,000 as well as 864,000 was paid by those service providers. The accounting officer responsible for SIU did confirm to the department when they were able to receive that money that was recovered from those two service providers. I must indicate that all those blankets, honorable members, were given to the needy communities as part of the program that we run as the Department of Social Development in terms of social relief of distress. And some were also during that time of COVID were actually given to the people who needed them in the shelters. Remember, there was quite a number of shelters where even people who are homeless that were accommodated during that period. So there isn't any single blanket that still remaining that was not given to the needy people in the province. And then with regard to the one that on Vuma, a non-profit organization where there were allegations of mismanagement of funds, we must confirm that we are no longer in partnership with that NPO because of that allegation. We felt that we cannot continue to work with them. But over and above that, there was a criminal case that was opened against the NPO and the board members who then contributed to the mismanagement of funds. So those cases are at Eshowe. And then the officials that were employed by the board, they all resigned, so they couldn't be held accountable in terms of discipline because they ran away and they couldn't be found. And then with regard to the irregularities in terms of the home community-based care, that is where the officials that were indicated were given written warning. I think maybe it was the presiding officer who was managing that case because the officials themselves, in fact, did not, those that were implicated, it was based on limited oversight that they did not quickly identify challenges with this NPO. That's where the challenge was, but the actual mismanagement was on the NPO itself. So the officials are those that were actually doing oversight to the non-profit organization. And the matter is still on of that NPO because as we indicated that the matter has been referred to the commercial crime unit, where we strongly believe that if the department win the case, then Section 300 of the Criminal Procedure Act will then be we will recommend that it be used in order to ensure that we are able to recover defrauded funds. Chairperson, may I then request the CFO to respond to some of the two other questions that you asked. I'm not sure whether the DGG, because at least we are together with the CFO. If she comes in, she will raise her hand to clarify some of the issues. Thank you.
Thanks, HOD. CFO?
No, thank you, Honorable Chair. I'll respond to the utilization of expired contract that resulted to the irregular expenditure. The question was which other categories? It was catering category, security, and expired photocopier machines. So as a department, we have since stopped all the expired contracts, and all the contracts are running normal or regular contracts. We do not have any irregular expenditure. We do not use any expired contracts. All contracts are active. On the disagreement amount, where we're saying it's not 1.1 billion, it's around 600 million. The matter is being handled by Provincial Treasury. We are making a follow-up with them. They are still handling that matter in terms of the condonment. We are also going to continuously make a follow-up for the condonment of that. However, we're confident that that expenditure will be condoned because we submitted all the relevant documentation. With regards, Chair, to the use or to the payments within 30 days, I need to indicate, Chair, that it's not our intention to pay beyond 30 days. And also, it's not that we do not understand that all expenditure must be within the budget. However, Chair, what actually happens is that with the budget cuts, they are normally announced maybe around February in preparation for the next financial year. At the moment, we even know the figures for the next financial year. But the challenge, Chair, is that we have contracts that we are running as a department. Maybe it's security, it's cleaning services, it's gardening services, it's municipal accounts, and so forth. All those contracts, they are basically the needs of the department. For the department to operate, we must have the security guarding the buildings and so forth in terms of the PFM safeguarding of assets and so on. Then when National Treasury comes and implement the cuts, they don't look at those contracts. They just tell you that they are cutting so much. As a result, when the year progresses, so you do not have now enough money to pay for those contracts. So we've been even talking to provincial trusts to say these price cuts are mandatory, but however, they're actually affecting even our operations, even the suppliers that we have employed as a department to provide those services, because they must wait for about 60 days to get their payment. However, as a department, in order to reduce the expenditure, we have since stopped the procurement. We are now concentrating on paying the contracts that are existing. We do not procure anymore as a department. As far as maybe the issues of furniture, the other issues, we only procure essential services, maybe relating to facilities where maybe there are toiletries, where there are clothing for our beneficiaries that are there, where the social relief. We only allow the essential procurement, but the traditional procurement where we say we have money, we need to buy this and this and this, we have since suspended, but essential procurement is allowed. With that strategy, we see that the department expenditure is reducing. As a result, maybe around May or June, we'll see the invoices being paid within 30 days. However, Chair, I need to indicate that when we suspend such procurement, service delivery will be affected in one way or another, because those procurements may relate to what is needed, but we prioritize the very, very essential needs. But we have to implement those strategies in terms of to reduce the cost that will actually allow us to pay within 30 days. However, we also need to be assisted, because when these cuts are being implemented, they are implemented on the operations of the department. But Honorable Chair, we are managing. I think I've covered, and the SOD has covered other issues. We're not sure if DDG want to add something. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thanks, CFO. Look, I think your responses are quite comprehensive. For me, it's the issue of the criminal charges not always seeing the light of day, but that's something I think needs to be addressed with law enforcement and at a higher level than where we are at. It's in terms of the SIU, I would expect to hear that you are going to clear that debt, because it's embarrassing when you get a list showing provincial departments owing them funds, and you yourself have said that they've collected monies on your behalf. I think also what Honorable Kele is raising, you've spoken about it, and the cancellation of your agreement with that NGO or NPO. But obviously your overseeing and monitoring of these organizations needs to be tighter. We note the progress that you've made in terms of the expired contracts. I think that is very, very important, because invariably this results in an AG query and sometimes in irregular expenditure. So I think that is very, very positive. We also are pleased that your 15 cases, you've got 9 completed. You are acting on them. It's good to see that there are at least 8 criminal cases. It does send out a message. And the 6 that are still in progress with follow up in terms of the outcome. Then the one with Treasury is something I think we would have to note, and I'm sure the portfolio committee must do the same in order to pursue that, because as long as that is you're not in agreement and documents are lost and whatever, your irregular expenditure is not going to go through the process of condemnation. So you just carry this large amount. But I think, Honorable Kele, are you covered?
Thanks, Chair. I'm covered, even though the HOD didn't say much about the issues of a written warning when someone has been found guilty of theft. I think she must say something, because the next thing that's going to happen, you'll find that these cases will continue. That somebody is found that they are thieving from the poorest of the poor, and the HOD says we note, and she doesn't even mention the fact that we raised that issue at SCOPA. I have a problem with that, Chair. Thank you.
I actually want to invite the HOD to come back and give us that response, Honorable Kele, because I agree with you. So let me just hand over to HOD.
Thank you very much, honorable members, with regard to giving us an opportunity to come back. If you have been found guilty for theft, you cannot then be, in my view, and in terms of the sanctions that can be imposed on a person, you have been found guilty of theft, and I don't think a sanction of a written warning is proper. The one that Honorable Chair, Honorable letter 1 was referring to, which is the only one that has a final written warning, is with regard to the NPO, where 3 officials were given final written warning. And as they were given final written warning, is not because they stole. The mismanagement happened within a non-profit organization, but the officials were given a final written warning because the department realized that during their oversight, they did not actually detect that there were challenges that were taking place within a non-profit organization, but there was nothing that was found that the officials stole from government funds, but it was the NPO itself that was whose board of management was implicated in terms of mismanagement of funds. I think that's what one maybe should have clarified further, Chairperson. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that clarification, HOD. But I think the point remains that there has to be much tighter monitoring, because these are public funds. Like this idea of ghosting of foster care kids and all that it's very worrying, because genuine cases then fall through the cracks. Honorable Kele?
No, for the portfolio committee, because I'm not sure. Can you hear me, Chair?
Yes, I can.
I was saying, Chair, I thought we were talking about the 233 home care base centers and the Mahlabathini officials. But it's fine, Chair. Let's accept the response of the HOD and leave it for the department, for the portfolio committee to keep an eye on it, and then we'll take it from there. Thanks, Chair.
Thanks, Honorable. I think that's what we would do is have to direct this there as well. Okay. Are there any other matters? I don't know if anybody else wants to respond. I don't see any hands. Oh, all right. In that case, colleagues, if there are no further matters, let me thank the department for availing yourself. And we do see progress, by the way. But obviously, this is one of the departments where there's a lot of attention. And sometimes not always the best of attention. This is also a department where there's a lot of reliance, particularly by the most vulnerable in the province. So we do expect you to run a tight ship. And I think things are starting to take shape. And obviously, going forward, there would be further tightening up. We will be doing some follow-ups, and we will refer some of the matters to our sister portfolio committee to be addressed. But thank you very much, everyone. Colleagues, we have hearings on Thursday, the 26th. The Cabo, what's the date on Thursday? Whatever it is. Cabo has sent us a notice.
It's 28th.
The 28th, yes. We've got 3 departments there that we are meeting. So as usual, comrades from SCOPA, I know you will be there. Thank you very much to colleagues from SCOPA, the Portfolio Committee, officials of the Legislature, as well as the Department of Social Development. The hearing is now closed.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Chair.